Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Doc Skinner here with the Doc Skinner podcast, coming to you every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays for the next for a while at 3 o'clock. That's Arizona time. Now remember, 6 months out of the year we're Pacific time. The other six were Mountain time, and so right now it's specific. It's Pacific. So we're right there with California as well as our guest. So if that's correct, he'll nod his head. Was that correct? Yeah, I'm just making sure I didn't goof myself. It's been a while. I'm a little nervous, folks, but I'm so glad you're here to join us tonight or today. I gotta get used to saying that. I've been going to bed a lot earlier, embracing the grumpy old man thing. So so we're doing 3 o'clock. It's still late over at the eastern side. So we're just going to get right to it. There's been a lot of stuff going on, a lot of announcements, a lot of breakthroughs, a lot of holy molies going on. And I'm having fun. I'm having fun. I got my popcorn and I'm having fun, just enjoying the show. But the newest one, of course, is the pyramids. And I saw the images. I don't know if I have any in here. Did I upload? Oh, of course I did. I forgot those. But a lot of you have seen the images, and we're going to talk about that with our guest, dear friend of mine, Mr. Olsen. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Doc Skinner. Always great to talk to you. I'm doing fine here in sunny Nevada. We're already well into spring, and but the snow mountains are still open and still getting some skiing in.
Yeah, I've noticed you've had some stuff on Facebook. You're like, it's kind of like you play this Where's This Waldo game, I've noticed. Where am I now? Are you trying to find somebody that's really good at triangulating you so you can put them on your team, or how's that work?
Yeah, well, someone who knows traveling and scenes and can figure it out. I often leave little clues. Where is he now? Yeah,
it's fun.
Lately it's been skiing, but soon it's going to be traveling to Arizona for the great conference you're putting on. Looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but I wanted to, and it's for those that don't know, you can go to 1028-productions.com, little minus sign. I think isn't that a dash minus sign?
Mm-hmm.
So 1028-productions with an s.com, and check out the DE25 button. Click on that, and you'll see these events we're putting on, and we'll go all over that later. But let's talk about the pyramids. So, Brad, my heart is racing because I called you a few days ago when people are still like, "What is this? What is this?" and talk about staircases down these huge tubes and whatnot, and the two big boxes. And I was like, I gotta call somebody. Who would I call that has enough street cred that I could go, yo, I got this theory.
Tell them the theory, because I love it. I think it's spot on.
And so I wish I had the imagery, but I'm just gonna say my little part. I'm gonna let you run with it, okay?
Yeah.
So my theory was the way everything was set up. It was actually two theories. The first one was, what if you took, with those shafts and everything that they've discovered, you took away all the sand, okay, as if it was a mud flood, and replaced it with water? Could this be like a stone oil rig or power rig in the middle of the ocean that's aerodynamic in a sense? The shape of it, made of stone, it's going to withstand huge waves. Or what if it's a gigantic Baghdad battery?
Right. Take it away. Power source. Yeah. I was just on an interview with Michael Jaco a couple of days ago, and we spoke about that and also the connection to Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower, because several books have been written on it with some authors that I know, Joseph Farrell, the Giza Power Plant, and Chris Dunn. who also recognize the machine work of the Great Pyramids, that they have the capacity of being beam weapons, basically. And it's known that when a pyramid, four-sided pyramid, will transmit energy, even small little ones on your desktop, you can look at them, and just by the nature of their shape, they will transmit energy up through the top. So you scale that up, and you add the underground features, just like Tesla did at the Wardenclyffe Tower. A lot of people aren't aware of what he did in New York State on Long Island, where he built the Wardenclyffe Tower over 100 years ago. We all recognize the big Tesla ball and the tower that it was on, but in fact, he dug way, 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 way down into the earth because he recognized that there is a pulsation that occurs naturally in the planet. And he was able to entrain that pulsation and turn it into free energy. And he was just about to go online with it when JP Morgan came to inspect his investment, and he said, "Hey, where's the meter?" And Tesla said, "There's no meter. This is free energy. We're getting it free out of the planet. We're going to transmit it for free." And yeah, JP Morgan wouldn't have any of that, and they pulled the plug on it. And it stood there into the 1920s, and then some they said German spies were coming and taking pictures of it. And they're actually reproducing it in Texas right now. I don't know if it's gone online yet, but they're building a Wardenclyffe Tower there. And so
where? North Texas or North?
Sure what part of Texas? Maybe somebody's listening that can add in the comments.
Yeah, throw that in there. I'm a Texan. I'm from Texas, so
yeah. But the point is, when you get down deep into the earth and you can get this pulsation, and I think this is exactly what they were doing with the Great Pyramids, is you can turn it into this energy source and power your Baghdad battery, Doc, and power spaceships, everything else included on the surface of the planet.
I mean, the way, oh my God, I forgot his name. I just went blank. The guy that did Stargate, how they interpret the spacecraft made to fit on top. Like now we have Tesla vehicles. It's like a charging station. And then it's like, who came up with this big gigantic device that it, amongst other pyramids, are aligned in a star pattern, same as in other locations of the earth, as well as on other planets on Earth. And I have heard that, I just heard this recently, and I thought, well, this is an interesting concept. They're counterweights on the planet so it doesn't wobble. Have you heard that theory?
The basics of it. That's really interesting. But I'd like to take us all the way back to the time of the ancient Greeks, because this was a period where you have several very famous Greeks, including Aristotle and Herodotus, who is called the father of history, who wrote quite a bit of histories. In fact, one of his books was called Histories. And he described a tomb under the Giza Plateau. In this tomb, an artificial lake was surrounding an island on which Pharaoh Cheops was buried. And so there's also the water element down there too, Doc. And water is conductive. Water can also be used to charge batteries and other instruments. I was on a panel one time with J.J. Hurtak at Contacting the Desert, and we were both sitting on one end and the microphone was on the other end. So we knew we had about 20 minutes before it would come back to us. And JJ goes to me, "Hey, Brad, you want to see something?" I'm like, "Sure." And he has his briefcase here. He goes, "This is below the Giza Plateau." He said they diverted part of the Nile River to flow underground, where they have all these features, just like Herodotus had described. And he said one of the chambers, this is what Hurtak told me, he said one of the chambers was so big, you could fit one of the biggest Gothic cathedrals in Europe inside it. That's how big we're talking down there.
So we're saying the water. So what it would be is if you're looking down a satellite and you see the base of the trench where the water's flowing, right? So they had to cut out a section. So it's still going, but it's half of it's going down, right?
Well, or at river level, they just diverted part of the path, because when I was there in 1993, they actually started doing the first scans of the Giza Plateau, and we're coming back with the information that it's multi-level chambers and passages on all these levels connecting down to each level. Now we saw how deep it goes with the middle pyramid, Chephren, the Greeks call it. And that one goes so deep, but it's in the bedrock, so the water might not flow through. So I would imagine they directed one of the channels to flow the River Nile through this underground passageway, and then had all these other features that may have had water trickling through them, or may have been completely dry. But whatever is down there is a total game changer, because now with this new information, which, by the way, these scientists work totally independent of all the Egyptologists. Everybody was quite shocked when they heard the news coming out last week about these massive chambers under the second pyramid, because what that showed is that there's absolutely no doubt that the whole dynastic pharaoh as the builders of the pyramid theory is thrown out the door. It's done. You can't have pharaohs building 2 kilometers down in such a fashion that this is a funerary temple. Forget about it. That's done. So everything has changed in Egyptology since this discovery, and it's really thrown a lot of them for a tizzy, because they don't really know how to deal with it.
Wow.
Except deny it. That's Zahi Hawass.
Yeah, I was just going to say his name.
Report has just been deny everything.
Yeah. It's an amazing time to be alive. Earlier, it was like, oh, everybody just was hating it. But now all these things are all coming to light. And what a time to be alive. It's scary, but it's exciting.
So you remember in 2022, they did the same scan of the Great Pyramid, and they found the big void right above the Grand Gallery inside the Great Pyramid. And that's still, as of yet, to be explored. But for some reason, that was acceptable. It's the same team using the same technology, actually even better now, 3 years later, to scan deeper. And they did it from satellite. They took these images off of a satellite relay. And so this is now what is called Egypt Gate. And this has been going on since 1993, when they were doing those first scans of the Giza Plateau. And that happened to be the year I went there, and I climbed to the top of the Great Pyramid too. A little youthful indiscretion. It's not allowed, but I got away with it. And but that was also the same time, and totally unbeknown to me until years later, said, wow, March 1993. So yeah, exactly 32 years ago, or 33 years ago, I was there. And so was Rudolf Gattenbrink. And he was the guy who invented the long, skinny robot that they put in the aircraft. Yeah, in the Queen's chamber. And it went up and up and up. And then it eventually found a door. And then Zahi Hawass kicked him out of the country. Same with the guys who were doing the scans on the ground, finding out that it's like Swiss cheese down there. So this is all part of Egypt Gate, this big cover-up that goes contrary to the notion that they were all built by the pharaohs as tombs. Not anymore.
Yeah, because it looks like an energy source. But I'm sitting here and you started talking. I'm trying to be smart this show. I'm not going to interrupt as much as possible, so I'm taking notes. Um, now that we're learning all this, is it possible that the tombs that were used to have bodies in it were meant to create some kind of electromagnetic, I don't know, some type of energy that would take them to the other world? I don't know. Do you think that's why they put it in these tombs, or is it just because they're so security wise, no one could get in? Um, because it really, why? What? It's like, Uncle Henry died, so we're gonna bury him at the power plant. Doesn't make sense. Even if
Well,
you're royalty, I mean, even that. But I believe that something like a Baghdad battery, because you have your 4 poles that go into separate blocks that are massive. And someone's mentioned here earlier, there could be a whole city down there.
right.
And what if Egypt, like some people, this was months ago, showed an image of the like a cross section image of the desert with the pyramids, but then you saw below they were like monoliths, and you were just seeing the top of it.
Right.
I mean, history's changing, and I'm hoping people wake up and realize it's nothing like what we were taught.
Nothing at all, man. And so this is why it blows the lid off of the narrative that the pharaohs built the tombs, because then it begs the question, who built them and who had this technology and who could bore a hole through the bedrock 2 kilometers down to these giant other chambers that they've only detected. They don't even speculate what might be in there. But I'm friends with Hugh Newman and Andrew Collins. And Andrew Collins, back in 2008, his videos are still up on YouTube. He was able to get into this location called the Bird Temple, about a mile or so away from the Giza pyramids. And it was called the Bird Temple because in the 19th century, Harold Vyse, a British archaeologist that came to Egypt, they collected all these mummified birds, and they still have the cavities in the Bird Temple and in the cave entrance where all these birds were mummified. It must have been a
Wow.
really bizarre thing when Howard
Is that
Vyse
because the
went.
souls would leave with the bird's soul, or?
Yeah, well, they believed that all animals and all people had souls, and if you were mummified, then you had a better chance of making it your way through the next realm,
Afterlife.
the other world. But so Andrew Collins in 2008, he went into this cave system under the Giza Plateau, just like Herodotus, and he was able to find these chambers that went on and on for a while and then kind of came to an end. But there was one, you'd have to crawl all the way through it, but it went directly towards the middle pyramid. And him and Hugh Newman just released this video. I highly recommend people check it out if they're interested in this subject, because Andrew Collins, who was even given the title of Collins Cave, because he was the first one to alert the world that there's this network of caves below the Giza Plateau. He got kicked out of Egypt for a number of years just for making these videos. So then Zahi Hawass, who never likes to have his thunder stole, he goes down into the caves and he does his whole episode in search of mummies or something stupid like that. And he said, well, but there's no other way to get through these caves. We've searched them all, and this is the end. Except he forgot to mention that there was that one tunnel that went towards the second pyramid. And this is very interesting because this is where the new discoveries underneath the Chephren pyramid have been located.
Well, with so many discoveries, and who was it that did the LiDAR for Wailing Wall, and supposedly the Ark is down there. This technology is quite amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's not even more than a glip of what is out there that most people aren't even aware of. But something like this, I don't know why Oak Island doesn't use this technology. This look down in their island and finally find the treasure.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I just wanted to I wanted to point out real quick. Then I'll let you go again. That when I talked to you, remember people were saying that it was a staircase so that went around, and
Right.
I just wanted people to think, what if it was a gigantic copper wires like they have on major bridges and stuff? They're really thick, just copper, and it just winds around, and that's isn't that how the Baghdad battery works, or something like
Well,
that?
yeah, it's very similar. It would be, yeah, either copper wiring, but they keep saying that they appear to be more like staircases. Um,
Hmm.
of course, they've only got the scans, so I'd say it's probably open to interpretation. Then they did the computer generated schematics that we've all seen, the real clean looking 3D rendering representations of it.
Mhm.
And then they go much deeper than the representation shows. But it's called the Khafre Research Project. Khafre is the Egyptian name. I always call it Chephren, the Greek name. Using this SAR technology, which is used and taken from a satellite in outer space. They'd come around, and as soon as they were right over the Great Pyramids, they would do their scans and then have to wait for the satellite to come back around again to complete it.
Now, I heard that this whole venture, scanning it, was kind of like better to ask for forgiveness than permission kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about that. I think that's kind of hilarious. It's like, well, like someone finally, GSD got their shit done. They didn't have to worry
Right.
about the red tape.
Well, that's why they caught the Egyptologists so flat-footed with all this,
Hmm.
because they went ahead and just did it, but they didn't need permission from Zahi Hawass or the antiquities department to go ahead and do it. They just did it. And then when they made their release, the Egyptologists didn't see it coming, and they
Hmm.
didn't know, hey, our whole narrative, our whole model that all these pyramids in Egypt, and of course, there are many more than 3 on the Giza Plateau.
Hmm.
When I was there, we rode a horse from Giza all the way down to Saqqara, to the stepped pyramid. And
You
all
rode a
along the
horse all
way,
that way?
yeah, it was probably about 20 miles. And,
Still, that puts you in the
well,
Indiana
man, we were
Jones
sore the
category.
next day. I was with my girlfriend at the time, but we did it, and it was super cool because all along the way you see all these other pyramids, some just little more than a pile of rubble, and other ones like the bent pyramid that they didn't get the angle right on it.
Mhm.
And then way off in the distance was the red pyramid, and a whole host of others. So it's just they're littered all over the place, and most of them are in a state of complete ruin. But the Giza pyramids, especially when you see them from miles away, they're just so perfectly symmetrical.
Yes.
It is one of the most mind-blowing things on the planet that you can see. I mean, I thought
Space.
Angkor Wat was cool.
Mhm.
These pyramids are like nothing else on the planet.
And the fact that so many are being discovered. Jim Goodall went to Belize, and they discovered this new city with pyramids and stuff. We're gonna have him on soon here and talk to him about it. Um, what do you think that everything has been pushed forward so we would get to this point to where every day people like you and me, we can go and we can look at satellite images, we can go to these places and discover these things, because it's like this wave of discovery. There's like the golden age and all these other different, it's like this one is like, it really is some, the word rapture doesn't mean to reveal.
Or apocalypse means
Yeah.
this time of great change too.
Yeah, yeah. But
So,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
well, I was just going to say, if you recall the schematics of what the inside of the Great Pyramid looked like, there's what's called the Djed. Maybe I'm not pronouncing that right. But basically, it is the DJED structure. So you go up the Grand Gallery, and then you enter a room, and above it is this Djed structure, and it has several layers above it. There's a way to get up in them.
Like little towers.
Yeah. And this is actually within the pyramid. So it's built into the structure. Then you got to crouch down to get into the king's chamber. But what's so interesting about this Khafre research project, the SAR technology also scanned the second pyramid, the Khafre pyramid, and found 5 of these Djed structures built within the structure. So even more so, it looks like this is an energy generating mega machine.
Because those towers, there's 5 of them, and they're perfectly, not symmetrical. Is that symmetrical? Is that what I'm looking for? They're perfectly aligned and separated in a certain pattern.
Yep.
Now, in a battery, what would you say that segment would be?
Yeah, probably the transmission towers that would push the natural earth energy up through the pyramid to the apex. And then when you consider that the Great Pyramid is slightly larger than the Khafre pyramid, and that's called the Cheops pyramid. Then you have the Khafre, slightly smaller, and then the little one, what is it called? Khafre, or a Greek term for it as well. So you have these 3, but they're not in a perfect line either. They're slightly off, so that they form a slight curve on the Giza Plateau when looking at them at above. And a friend of mine, Trevor Garassi, was just over there, and he got into some of the underground chambers too. There's not just one entrance. There are actually several, including right by the Sphinx, a hole in the top of the Sphinx,
a
hole on the side of the Sphinx. Yeah. There's a picture of Zahi Hawass popping out one of the holes.
Didn't they concrete seal the top one?
Oh, yeah. They keep sealing them up, but that doesn't make them go away. They're still there, right? Mm-hmm. But the way that the 3 pyramids are shaped, nobody could quite figure it out. Some people said, well, it matches the belt in Orion's belt. And it kind of does. So maybe they were using that as a model. Mm-hmm. But why didn't they put them in a straight line? Why are they slightly curved? Well, if you put a Fibonacci spiral, yeah, and you spin it around, guess what? Where that the circle ends goes right to a place where there's this well, and it's another entrance into the underworld. So it's almost like a treasure map. They were showing us how to find the way to get down into the underground Giza complex.
Next time you go, please take me with you. I'll come up with the money, however. But I want to. Seen too many Indiana Jones and other super adventure shows that I grew up with. It's like, let's do it. I mean, Jim Goodall, he busted through the jungle in Belize, and he's still doing it. He's an inspiration too. I just, God, you have such a fun life.
Oh, you got to go to Egypt at least once in your life, Doc. Everybody has to. It is such an amazing place, unlike anywhere else. And if you have an open mind, if you listen to yourself experience some of these locations, you might have past life recalls. And I sure did. Because if you consider that the Egyptian dynasties and the Egyptian empire, all the way back to the Assyrian Empire, which was really the legacy of Atlantis. So after the continent shifted, Atlantis sank, the survivors took their technology to Egypt. and the Osiris Empire is the legacy of Atlantis. That's according to Edgar Cayce, but also other seers. And so that's how old this technology is. It's really Atlantean technology. Now that we have the proof coming out that that these were used as energy generators and transmitters, then it's a complete game changer, because where are we building pyramids around the world now, Doc? I mean, how come we're not doing the same thing? Well, the Wardenclyffe Tower is about the closest assimilation, but here's free energy.
And you see those monoliths everywhere.
Yeah.
The big phallic thing, the point. Yeah.
You mean the obelisks?
Obelisk. I said the wrong. Yes. Thank you for correcting.
And of course, the obelisk in Washington, D.C., the Washington Monument was built, and no buildings in Washington, D.C. are allowed to go higher than the Washington Monument obelisk. And then you have Egyptian obelisks that were pulled out of Egypt and brought to St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. Wow. And you also have another one called Cleopatra's Needle in the city of London. And those three places is the empire of three cities. This is how the globalists have been running the show for many decades. And it's hidden in plain sight. They just put it right out there and say, yeah, if you see an obelisk, maybe that's one of the seats of power. And sure enough, it all ties back to Egypt.
And now that I think about it, you mentioned London. Growing up, seeing like Sherlock Holmes movies and stuff, I remember there was one Sherlock Holmes where the bad guys were the globalists in London, and they did Egyptian religion, and they worshiped the sun. And I'm working on something that I want you to be a part of. We'll talk about it later, but it involves the sun and why so many have worshipped the sun. So, but that I want to keep private and talk to you first before I reveal, because I want to talk to you about it. So I don't make sure it's the right thing. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go on. This is so much great stuff is happening, dude. It's a great time to be alive.
So much great stuff is happening. Yeah, absolutely. And really, it's the human journey. I like the German term Zeitgeist. It's the spirit of the age that we live in. And I don't think it's any coincidence that we all happen to be adults in the prime of our lives, and we're in a position to make these changes, to do these podcasts that you do, and your film Fly, which is going to come out. I'm publishing books, Laura Eisenhower, Michael Jaco, my own books, and getting that out there. And we're doing conferences, and people are coming, and we're all putting this together in a stew to all learn from each other. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's any coincidence that this is the time that we're all here alive doing this. And maybe when it's all said and done, we'll all meet for the big dance in the sky someday, or maybe on a big mothership, and say, man, wasn't that a weird experience living in Earth in the early 21st century? Wow, that was a trip.
Well, Childhood Lost by Arthur C. Clarke, right? Who did that? Have you seen the Sci-Fi Channel series? It was like 3 episodes of the book. Aliens, they come in the big ships, and they refuse to let anybody see them because they're worried that we won't be able to handle it.
Yeah, right.
But they cure everything. There's no violence. There's no crime. Everything's great. And then in the final 3rd episode, I think, they reveal themselves by walking down these stairs with a little boy, little girl, and comes down the steps. Should I say this, or you really should watch it? Childhood Lost.
Spoiler alert, but go ahead.
Okay. It's Satan with hoofs and everything, blood red, everything. I mean, I was like, oh my God, that would be horrible. But he was good, right?
I'll tell you something else, Doc. It's interesting you bring that up, Satan, because in the very deep esoteric literature, This underground city below Giza is called Kamagul 2, or this underworld of the reptilians. That this is one of their headquarters. This is one of their. So this could be why Egypt Gate was so strict about shutting down any information about an underground city down there. There's also supposed to be a fully intact UFO craft, but not one that could fly in there. It's completely enclosed by the bedrock. And the Egyptologist Mark Lerner actually let it slip one time. I was at a lecture in San Francisco, and he came through, and I'm like the kid in the front row. Hey man, tell us the good stuff. And I mentioned, and I raised my hand when it was Q&A, and I said, Dr. Lerner, great lecture today. Can you tell us a little bit about the UFO disc that was discovered down there? And he actually confirmed it. Didn't go into much more detail, but they know there's some stuff down there. Of course, it's also the Hall of Amenti, the Hall of Records.
The Hall of Records, yeah.
That could be this crystalline record of everything that's ever happened on Earth. So this is mind-blowing information that's coming out, and I think we've only touched the tip of the iceberg.
Do you believe in the mud flood theory?
To a degree, not that it covered the World's Fair buildings in North America with mud. And that
I only asked because
that's partly on the point. But let me give you an example. I was in Malta in 2004. I was working on my book called Sacred Places Europe. And there's a very famous cave in Malta. In fact, Graham Hancock brings it up in his series called Ancient Apocalypse. And it's a cave that is stuffed with mud. And in that cave are mastodons and giant sloths and all these megafauna that
in the cave?
Yeah, that got
like they were running from something with big impact
behind them. Yeah.
Wow.
So Malta got swept over by waves and mud, and there's evidence that this has occurred in other places too. So if we're talking about let's say a pole shift, you're going to have mud floods all over
water, bringing the silt and everything, and then going out, and then you have a big Man, there's just so much to our world that we have barely touched the tip of the iceberg on so many topics. I love this. This is just amazing stuff. But we got about 20 minutes left. And I thank everybody that came to hang out with us today. I know it's earlier than normal, but like you said, I was embracing the whole old man thing and, going to bed early, waking up early. Let's get a lot done today. And I'm getting, anyway, so 3:00 and we'll be doing every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all the way up to the event and beyond. And so we got about 20 minutes. Can we dabble a little bit on what's going to happen? Let me give the lowdown, and then you can come in with what you're going to do. Is that cool?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, tell them about the disclosure experience that's going off the ticker tape right now.
Yeah. So that web address, don't do it right now. I just put in there so you can write it down. That way it scrolls by. But there's a weekend that we're doing. It's May 23rd through the 25th. And it's called Disclosure Experience. There's a video out there and whatnot to watch, but since I wrote the script, I'll just kind of say what it says. You go to other events, big events, you spend a ton of money getting there, hotels or Airbnb or whatever, food, merchandise, time spent standing in line to hopefully get an autograph or a selfie, or maybe in line to ask a question and try not to forget the question before it's your turn. It's great, but what if you had the ability to hang out with 19 other people for 2 or 2.5 days with 4 amazing speakers on a private 40-acre ranch and sit there and talk? They'll do their lectures, they'll do their workshops. It's going to be a lot of great stuff. But the ability to sit around the bonfire after dinner, barbecue, all that, under the stars, and just have conversation and pick their brains. it's going to be an experience like no other. And I'm really excited to do this. I'm so excited that Brad's a part of it. The weekend he will be here, we also have David Nino Rodriguez, as well as Tony Rodriguez and Ryan Patrick Burns. So it's going to be awesome. And the ticket price looks a little steep, but it covers the hotel, covers the food, covers the bar, it covers the entertainment, it covers the speakers, takes care of everybody. Everybody's happy, and you and those 19 people will have an experience that no one else will have. It'll be your time. You guys will have that bond, and that's why it will be an experience, not a convention or anything. So I'm really excited about it. Now, Brad is going to be doing, like I said, on the 23rd through the 25th. He'll get a half a day to do whatever he wants with you guys. So give us an idea of what might happen. Nothing I'm sure is set in stone, but bedazzle them with some ideas.
Sure. Well, I think I was one of the first person you came to with this idea. And I said, that's great, because I love it. Gives people a chance to really get to know each other. And we looked at dates, and I picked that weekend, and you asked who else I should bring in. And I went straight to a couple of my go-tos, including David Nino Rodriguez, who's this former heavyweight boxer. This will be his conference debut. This will be really cool to see what he brings to the table. But this was about a month ago, Doc, when you brought this to my attention. You said, we're going to go forward with it. Let's do it. Who do you want to bring in? And right at that time, I was going to bring David Nino Rodriguez up to the Uinta Basin in northeastern Utah, because Ryan Patrick Burns, who's also going to be there, owns property overlooking the Skinwalker Ranch.
Wow.
So he's going to give us the deep download on all the weirdness that has gone on at Skinwalker Ranch. And so all the three of us and a few other friends were going to go there. But when I was in Colorado with my dad and his wife, my dad's best friend passed away about 2 months ago, and they happened to have the memorial 2 days after we were supposed to go. So it was because I had to change my schedule to stay for the memorial, then Nino Rodriguez couldn't come, and then we didn't do this trip, but we will do it in the future. But the point is this, that the three of us were going to get together and do a deep dive here and look into all these mysteries around Skinwalker. Then you came around and said, hey, let's get some other speakers on your weekend. And I said, these guys. And Ryan jumped on the opportunity right away. And with
Tony and
Rodriguez, he lives out, and he's in Sedona right now in village of Oak Creek. So he's not far away to drive on in. And he and I have worked together quite a bit. Now, I actually was the first one to go to the place where he was taken as a young man, pretty much a preteen.
Wow.
In Inyo Kern, California. I was driving back from a road trip, and I got Tony on my video phone, and we were talking, and I'm walking around the site. He had never even been there. He's been there since, but he basically almost broke down in tears. I could tell it was such an emotional discharge that he was there being trained with these psychic abilities, psi abilities, which he still teaches people today, how to remote view and stuff.
Wow.
So my question with Tony is, and he says he was off planet and his experience with it, and he's got total recall on times on the Ceres, CERES Colony Cavalier is the name of his book, where he spent several years in the largest satellite within the asteroid belt is called Ceres. And he spent several years there, basically as a slave, as a worker bee, but came back with all these incredible abilities. So I asked him, I said, Tony, if you were to do it all over again and not be captured and just live a normal life like every other kid in America, or go through what you went through, because some of it was downright torturous. He said he would do it, because that's the thing about these super soldiers, Doc. And I totally believe that some of them are telling the truth and have had this experience.
Mm-hmm.
But while it's a very traumatic experience, and they also go through trauma-based mind control, some MK Ultra stuff too, which is not pretty at all. But in the end, they come out with these abilities. And I think that's the proof that they really were in some of these programs. And so Tony is going to talk all about that. That's going to be fascinating. He always comes up with very unique and different lectures year after year. So it's not always the same thing. And as you know, I went down to Antarctica 6 years ago, and that's a very unique experience. Not many people have done that. And I would like to go back. We have a proposal with a venture capital company to raise the money to do an expedition down there again.
Nice.
And I'm coming out with my 11th book called The Secrets of Antarctica. Not going to be ready by the disclosure conference, but end of the year it'll be out.
That's still great. That is amazing. I mean, 11. I was going to try to bring up your books. I think did I actually get a picture of them? It'd be an image file, because I thought I did. And there's the pyramid picture I thought I didn't have. But yeah, I don't have it. I thought I did. I was going to show it. Man, because this is so different and unique. Now, you and most of these people, there's probably a couple that I haven't physically met, but most of them have had dinner at my house. You as well. Everybody's, been up here.
Yeah.
And I was, how can we do something different? And it's easier to control the situation. It's not like 1,000 people there, and you don't know where to look, and it's stressful. This is going to be laid back. There'll also be, for those that are interested in coming, it's going to be worth it. There is going to be staff that will be there to take care of our needs. Just be nice to them, if you want to tip them. But if you want something to drink during one of the speakers' symposiums or whatever they're doing, workshop, they'll go to the bar, they'll grab you a drink, whatever. It's as if though you guys rented a yacht per se, and they got the staff. Well, it's the same thing, but on a ranch. And while, let's say, Brad is doing his half day, the other 3 could be there just sitting along too. Or they could be working on, whatever they want. We're going to have podcasting. We're not going to be podcasting what happens at the event. We're going to have the podcasters talk about what had happened. We want to keep it as exclusive as possible. But it's going to be so much fun. And the property is amazing. And the stars, I'm from Texas, and they're not as big and bright as they up here on the mountain. I mean, I guess you are, because you're closer. It's just so freaking beautiful up here. And we have lots of activity in the sky. So sitting around the bonfire, and everybody takes shifts watching the sky while others are talking, and even people that want to do I think somebody was talking about these guests, if they've had encounters or experiences, we could sit and talk about it, in a safe environment, kind of like an AA meeting, you might say, but it doesn't have to be that dramatic. But just everybody, so everybody kind of gels together. Everybody understands each other during that weekend. There's many things. Like I said, every speaker gets their half day to do whatever they want. If they just want to take you hiking, whatever, and then talk while they're hiking, or they want to do yoga, or a remote viewing course like Tony likes to do. I think Brad's doing the 3-legged race. So it's going to be fun, and it's going to be worth it. And when you think about it, for the price, which is $1980, I like the number. So, but it's what I need to, take care of everything. That $1980, it covers your hotel, the alcohol, if you drink. It covers the hotel, alcohol, food, the speakers coming to speak, the ranch, and the hotel's already mentioned. So it's a really good price deal when you look at it, because you're usually going to spend more than that. and then you're gonna leave and just go, I got a t-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Doc, because I know at say Contact in the Desert, you got to book your own hotel room. Of course, you got to pay for all your meals and drinks. Then you got to buy your pass to go in. It's probably coming in around the same price.
Yeah.
And at those big events, the guests that come to see the speakers, they're told you are not to interact with any of the speakers unless they say something to you. Oh yeah, you're not allowed to talk to them.
Pompous.
I know. It kind of is. It's sort of the David Wilcock syndrome. He was the first one to say, they're out to get me. I need security for protection up on stage. And they did back in the day, but they kind of kept that going. And maybe there's some other speakers who, I mean, you get stalkers, you get weird people out there doing stuff, but
Yeah.
You're not worried.
And with little amount of, I mean, with a small amount of people, that's something we could safely take care of instead of, you know, a big riot breaking out. But it's gonna be awesome. It's about 30 minutes outside of Sholo, up here in northeast Arizona, which we call the White Mountains. It's not desert. We call it the high desert, but it's not desert. We've got the largest what strand of pine tree is it? We got a lot of pine trees.
Ponderosa.
Huh?
Don't you have the Ponderosa pines?
Thank you. That's the time. The Ponderosa pines. We have the largest Ponderosa pine forest in the world.
Yeah.
It's like living in a gigantic natural air filter. But then you go outside and then you have these little mountain hills and stuff, and where it is, it's top secret. But it's beautiful. There's a good energy there. So I'm hoping maybe you or some of the other speakers will come and help me figure out, oh yeah, this ranch is vibrating like this or something, because like it really is. Tesla is so true. It's all about electricity and what's the other word I'm looking for? I'm blank on that. But it's going to be a really great time. And like you said, Ryan Patrick Burns owns land overlooking a Skinwalker Ranch. So he's had a lot of stuff go on. And he's been on some shows, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we met on the
HeroParanormal.com.
Mysteries of the Outdoors. We were both speaking about Chaco Canyon. And that's where we met and instantly hit it off and been friends ever since. So, yeah, he does his own podcast, too. I think it's called the Hero Podcast.
Yeah. It's HeroParanormal.com. And another one called SpaceWolfResearch.com.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think I've been very blessed with people such as Brad, who not only, no questions asked, said, I'm on board and you need help filling some dates or filling some, spots. And me saying yes. And then within an hour, he's like, yeah, here, I got it taken care of. And so with that, it helps a lot. And we're also going to do something where each week we're going to have a little check mark, say who's coming to see who. Whoever gets a high number, they go a little bonus. So you can help out your favorite speaker. I am so excited to see what's happening. We're gonna document it. It will be taped, so it's like a highlight reel, and we'll have that just for the guests from that weekend. If we can sell out, there might be, I don't know. T-shirts, I was like, I don't want to deal with all the swag and all that like I did with the conventions, but I might do something nice just for the team, the people that are there. And Brad, I'm just so excited to see you in this environment and the deep, deep discussions that are going to take place. And we might come across a diamond in the rough. We'll pull into the gang and I just.
Well, you should also mention you've got some other weekends with other speakers too. It's not just going to be our weekend, including Travis Walton. The guy's a legend. He was a lumberjack cutting down Ponderosa pines in Arizona when he got abducted in the fire in the sky scenario.
Right. Yeah.
And then you got Paulo Asteria and Blake and Brent Cousins coming out one weekend. That'll be a cool time.
Oh, well, they had to, Blake and Brent and Apollo had to cancel because they forgot that they're, I think, going to Turkey or something. So unfortunately, I had to change the video, which hold on, stop. I'll play here in just a moment, and it's about a minute and a half. Tell you about everybody that's going to be coming and where to go. So hey, look, I'll play this and get it out of the way. All right. I just didn't want to do this up front. So everybody, thank you again for sticking with us tonight. Here we go.
Have you ever attended a large conference or event with hundreds of attendees? One that features notable speakers that you hope to ask a single question or at least get an autograph or selfie? Well, the time has come for the opportunity of a lifetime. 1028 Productions and Entertainment is pleased to announce our exclusive inclusive events occurring each weekend in May and June 2025. These events will be held at a private 40-acre ranch in the White Mountains of Arizona. You and 19 other VIP guests will have a once-in-a-lifetime weekend to spend quality time with prominent speakers. The weekend includes discussions, activities, workshops, UFO watching, campfires, meals, barbecues, and nightly entertainment. Scheduled to attend are Tony Rodriguez, James C. Goodall, Michael Schratt.
You're going to DE 25.
Ben Chasteen, Brad Olsen, David Nino Rodriguez, Ryan Patrick Burns.
Holy shit.
Oh yes, but wait, there's more. Travis Walton, Quincy Roser, Rex Bear, Brooks Agnew, Mike Barra, J.J. Ainsworth, Marina Seren.
So many to choose from.
Can I continue? Laura Eisenhower, Lily Nova, Daryl James, Aaron Kuhn, and Tyler Kiwala, Jeff Harmon, Camille James Harmon, John D'Souza, Tom Reed, Christopher LaPrath, and Michael Mazzola. Your registration fee covers meals, lodging, and open bar, and musical entertainment on Saturday and Sunday nights. Lodging will be provided at our local hotel, the Green Tree Inn, for said weekend. April 20th is the final deadline. For more detailed information and to register for one of these events, go to 1028productions.com/DEE25. Reserve your spot today, as there is limited availability.
Oh man,
Good job.
I love all this new AI stuff too because it makes it look like I spent $1,000,000. Oh man, yeah, it's. I am just so smitten, excited, whatever it's gonna be unlike anything anybody has been to. The friendships and the, I mean, my God, this is gonna be fun. And literally the price of it is going to be a lot less than you probably would to other events. And you're going to walk away with so much more than you would any convention. It's going to be a beautiful thing seeing these groups of 20 people every weekend having this experience and becoming friends and sharing and talking about it. And it's going to be a beautiful thing. Now, I know it's 4:00. I said I was going to do an hour, but we have people that had some questions. And hopefully, they're still with us. I can, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
Okay. Let me go. Okay, this is earlier. Does LiDAR go that deep, or what else are they using?
Right. Well, it's this scanning system called SAR technology that is shot from a satellite. And let me see if I can find the definition of it. But it basically was a Italian and a Scottish guy that did those scans in 2022 using pretty much the same way. So it says that the direction issued related to the known structures inside the pyramid of Khafre was satellite data that reveal the entrance, the descending corridor, and the roof of Belzoni's chamber. This is because the structures are embedded in a limestone slab that absorbs the signal. So basically, they're sending down these sound waves, and if it's a solid mass, it'll absorb the signal, or if it's a hollow mass, it'll come back and register as a cavity.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Even in like those type of materials, they'll have these rooms that are perfectly cut. or is it in India? They have those big buildings with all those intricate designs,
Yeah.
all made of like a single thing of stone. And I've seen comparison videos where they show a high intensity laser beam, which is frequencies, carving into a stone, and it's 3-dimensional. And then they show the picture of these buildings, and it makes you think, man, we were so way ahead of our time way back then. It was a whole nother civilization. Do you think frequency is how they made some of those buildings, the really intricate ones where you could put your hands through, rods and whatnot?
I would say similar, but more like auditive levitation or using the frequency. So everything in the world, all physical matter has a certain resonance frequency. And if you can match that resonance frequency, that you can render objects weightless. So I think this is how they built the Great Pyramids,
And
was using this auditive levitation.
Like the monks with the long tubes and the drums, they could levitate a boulder up on top of a cliff. And there was a gentleman that got to witness that. They wouldn't let him take photos or video, but he was able to draw it and describe what he saw. And you see other videos where people have a didgeridoo. I guess if it's just set just right, you can levitate rocks and stuff with the end of a didgeridoo. All this stuff is just so amazing. I'm sorry. Let me get back to the questions here. Brad, do you know or have you worked with Trevor Grossi? I heard you mention his name a moment ago.
Oh yeah, I know him. He comes to conferences. He should be a speaker because he was just in Egypt a couple months ago and came back with a lot of his experiences getting into the underworld and finding different entrances and working with other researchers. And we were talking about publishing his book. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time to get it out right away because it's pretty time sensitive. But I was giving him some advice on how he should go ahead and publish that.
Well, how about we talk about that after, and let's see if we can get him out here.
Yeah.
Because the pyramid thing is so huge right now, and it really does change history.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get left in the dust on this one. I want to see this thing through and see what comes of everything. Now, let me ask you this. When I saw the drawing, another thing I saw, or it made me think of, was the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, the Mars movie.
Oh yeah, Total Recall. Yeah.
And in Mars, didn't they have those gigantic pillars underground, which ended up flooding the Earth with water, bringing it to habitable conditions? There's so many possibilities, but knowing that now there is these solid objects in these formations, in these patterns, my God, I feel like we are just not even close to truly being smart compared to other civilizations or beings that have been here. It's so built so perfectly, and it could be so many different things, like a charging station, a battery, a resonance thing to put resonance through the world. And bells, all the bells were taken from around the world for use for the war, when those were used to keep people in harmony, or their frequencies and stuff. It just go on and on. Let's get back to the questions. I'm sorry, folks. Let's see. The next one is, I just passed it. No, we got the mentions, gentlemen. I hate this thing when it scrolls up without telling you. We did awesome, Lily Tyler right now. There was one that said question. It would be so amazing if there's always, let's see, no. Anybody have a question? Am I going through? You guys just chatting there? Some people are promoting themselves. Jim Goodall sounds like with a plasma beam splitting the God particle. Yeah, that's interesting. Trey says cut with a plasma beam splitting the God particle. That God particle. It's now being promoted, you might say, in so many ways. You had Angels and Demons, which is part 2 of
Dan Brown.
Yeah, his second
The Da
movie.
Vinci Code.
Yes, thank you. And it was mentioned in that. It was kind of like a part of the story. This God particle. Can you give a brief synopsis and what really is it?
I'm not exactly sure. Maybe Tra Getting can write in the comments what he thinks it is.
Yeah, because the next thing he says, the Red Sea was parted with the ark.
All things coming out this year. All right.
It is. It's that's why I'm excited about 2025. Not just because I'm getting to do these projects, but because of what's going on, this big reveal of things, and yeah, I don't want us to be political, but drain the swamp, getting rid of the yuck everywhere, and now all these other countries want to follow us. But the way like Hamid Mossad tries to deflect questions, or he won't answer. Do you think he's a part? I mean, I don't know. Are you guys friends?
With who?
Hamid?
Tiny?
No, Hamid Mossad in Egypt.
Hamid Mossad. I don't know. Or do you mean Zahi Was? I don't know.
Sorry, my bad. The wrong one. Hamid was. Is either Joe? Never mind. You know what I'm talking about. Do you think that maybe they're part of a society that goes back all the way to the Egyptian days, even further back, maybe? And like the people that are guarding the ark, it's goes down generation to generation. What do you think of all that?
Well, I mean, their lifetime is only 50, 60, 70 years. Do they influence their offspring, their other generations? Possibly. But if we're talking about back in the time of the pharaohs, there's this guy that does these videos called the Pharaoh Show, and he films them in Switzerland. It's a trip. And he goes around and shows all the Egyptian motifs and statues and carvings and names of places that have Egyptian place names in Switzerland. And he says that they are the direct descendants of the pharaohs that moved to Switzerland. And isn't it interesting that you've got the Swiss bank accounts that can't be traced, so you don't know how much money is in each one. Right. You have the Swiss Guard, which guards the Vatican. You've got their neutral policy, and then you got the Bank of International Settlements there in Basel, and
do you think that they made
forum in Geneva?
Do you think they manipulated the government to make the country the way it is, where you have immunity, the Swiss bank accounts? Do you think that was all orchestrated over a long period of time so that they could control, well, one, that piece of land, but also work without impunity? I think is the term I'm looking for. Impunity.
Right, because that's a safe haven. That's a place they could keep their funds, keep their anonymity, and basically run the planet.
Yeah.
If they're the descendants of the pharaohs, then that kind of makes a lot of sense that these multi-generational families, and some of them are pretty well known, like the Orsini family in Italy. They go all the way back to the Renaissance, and they are
one with the black coat.
Well, yeah, and they're among the first international bankers, all the way back to the Renaissance, and their family line is still very much around and very much in power and very, very wealthy.
And they were they a part of the Templars, and that's how they were part of the banking system, because the Templars were doing the slips and all that.
Right. Exactly.
Wow. Oh, okay. So this was just a little taste. Imagine doing what I'm doing, just hanging out with Brad and the others around a bonfire or over outdoor barbecue, or hang out. We got a dance floor. We'll have a DJ. We'll have musical artists. It's going to be a great time. But the problem is, it's not really a problem. It's just the way it is there's only 20 spots. First come, first serve. And you can go to the website. Let me show that if those that haven't been there yet. Let me show this to you real quick. Here is, go up. There we go. Looks a little big on this screen. But this is the 1028 Productions website. And if you click where it says DE25, it brings you, well, it shows the commercial that I showed you. And then here is the breakdown. Each row is a weekend. So you have the first weekend is May 2nd through the 4th with Mike Barra, Laura Eisenhower, John D'Souza, and Tom Reed. Then we're going to have a weekend off because we're going to tweak the weekend out. We're going to sit and like, okay, what can we do better? Make it cooler, faster, stronger. Then we'll be back on May 16th through the 18th with Jim Goodall, Michael Schratt, and two others where I'm thinking your gentleman friend could, we can fit him in one of these slots. Or there's another one later. Then, of course, there's this dude, loves the ice. Kind of looks like the dude I'm talking to. That's Brad Olsen. And then, of course, David Nino Rodriguez, which thank you so much. And credit to you for bringing these gentlemen to the event, man, or I wouldn't have been able to do it. I would have just been that strange, weird fan who's trying to contact them. But no, I truly appreciate you helping me network with them. And I'm really excited to meet David as well as Tony. I've had Tony on the show. And I believe, I'm just going to announce it right now. I truly believe that there was this year and back or 20 year and back, there's some kind of program because like the pyramids, we are just a civilization that is just learning to walk. Mm-hmm. And previous ones got wiped out that were way smarter than us as we are discovering as history changes right in front of our eyes. Also, Ryan Patrick Burns, he'll be here, and I'm really excited to meet him. Brooks Agnew, on the 6th of June through the 8th with Mike Barra, JJ Ainsworth, who right now is in Egypt, along with Tyler Koala. And I'm really looking forward to see what they explored. I mean, they were there as this announcement happened. So we'll be excited to see what she says. And then from Spain, we have Marina Serene, and she'll be here as well. And then we have Rex Bear and 3 spots open for May 30th through June 1st. So that might be another spot. And then we have Laura Eisenhower again with Lily Nova, Daryl James, and then Aaron Kuhn and Tyler Kiwala on that weekend. Then we'll have Camilla James Harmon, her husband Jeff Harmon, astrologer to the stars. She's a ufologist and an experiencer as well. Christopher LaPrath, the seer of the unseen, and Michael Mazzala. Now, Michael Mazzala, you might recognize the name. He did the movie Unacknowledged, as well as the Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind, and many, many others. Got to hang out with him 2 weeks ago, and just great guy. Also did Missing 411, the UFO connection. So if you like this stuff, you get to meet him. And then the final weekend, which is going to be a fun blowout, we got Travis Walton, the man, the myth from Fire in the Sky. And then we have from Dark Hour Paranormal, Quincy Roser. This gentleman, I feel really dumb when I'm around him, but it's like not a negative thing. I'm like, I am learning because he retains memory and or subject matter and stuff. And I would trip up. So he's just amazing. And then my dear friend James C. Goodall will be here again a second time, but this time instead of talking about Bob Lazar, UFOs, and all that, he's going to be talking about his trip to Belize and them discovering new pyramids. It's just like I say, so many things. Like there's cities in foreign countries. If you just glance, it looks like mountains, but if you look at it, they're actually pyramids with growth, and people are living on top of it or right around it. It's really exciting to see all these new discoveries. And then of course, Ben Chastain will be here from Edge of Wonder, and I just love all these people. They're just amazing, and I have conversations like this with all of them, and I want you to have the experience too. Hence, disclosure experience, not convention or fanfare or anything like that. So, yeah, I am looking to fill these spots. So we'll talk to your friend. It's going to be so much fun. So much fun. Let me get rid of this real quick now. Remove. Sorry, man. I just
Yeah, no, good job. What a
Thank
great lineup. And for what, about 2 months? You're going to do this every weekend?
yeah, 8 weeks, 8 weekends.
Great.
So, and we're working on having everybody come on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursdays in the weeks to the event. Have them do what we did today. So that's basically what the show's gonna be. It's the Doc Skinner podcast. It's not, any of those funny, fun names. It's just down and dirty, raw, and having amazing guests. So they're all gonna come on. They're gonna give you a little taste, and then hopefully you get to see them again in person. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for everybody. We're
Gonna be
we're about close to that time. You got anything you want to close out with?
Yeah, just to tell everyone, this is a totally unique way of doing a conference where you'll be able to get up front and close and ask questions and befriend the speakers, which you're really not allowed to do at the big conferences anymore.
Yeah.
And where you're doing it, Doc, is a super beautiful location with wildlife and the opportunity to get out in nature a little bit too and hang around the campfire and tell stories.
Yeah.
I just love the model. It's so cool. So I think I was one of the first persons you told about this, and I just jumped on it. I said, yeah, that's so cool. That's a great idea. And happy to be a part of it. Thanks for thinking of me.
I just love you, man. I mean, it's like, because I love to take care of my people and make sure they're the best place. And, I loved when I took one of the Disclosure Con groups to the shooting range. And we discovered I should put those videos out sometime. I'll say this. Brooks Agnew, and especially Travis Walton, they're like Mr. Rogers. They're undercover snipers. Okay. All I know is I gave a 30-round clip to Travis with an AR. He you see like 17, 18 individual holes, and then this one big one, which is amazing. So we do a lot of fun things. I try to make it so it's not the speakers drive up here or they fly up here. They go straight to the hotel. They're sitting there, just sitting in the hotel watching TV until it's their turn to go down for their spot. And it feels like a show, not this. So go there, check it out. Tickets are on sale. And here's the other thing. If you're looking at the number and you're like, oh my God, I just can't do that today. I can accept all payments, including Apple Pay, and you can do payment plans. It's like 4 payments or whatever. So don't fret. There's a way. I made it as accessible as I could. What's what I'm looking for? As reasonably priced as possible. And it's gonna, sometimes I go, damn, I came up with this, but I really didn't. And I will give credit where credit is due. I heard that Stephen Greer did something similar, twice as much, but you get to do some stuff. And I thought, well, I could do that, but I could get a couple more people to come out and make a whole weekend of it. And it is. I think it's the first of its kind. May not. Someone may have done it, just we don't know about it. But I'm really excited. The property is beautiful. It's one of my film producers' place. It's gorgeous. We do have elk. The most I've seen is 50 at the pond, which is about 50 something yards from the house or the building. It has lots of rooms. But we do have the hotel rooms. So everybody's going to stay there. We pick you up in the morning. You come and we'll have like a nice ranch breakfast outside or inside, depending on the weather. Then there'll be lunch and dinner. And then, of course, we have the wait staff that will be there to assist you. So, got to say, hi, sweetie. There's Audrey. I love Audrey. Let's see. What else? There's another question. Just some people coming on, Audrey and a few others. Hello, dear. Glad you're here. We're going to be, for those who just jumped on, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, 3 o'clock Pacific time, as of right now, until the time changes. 3 o'clock Pacific, we'll be doing the show, and I'll have great guests like Brad who are going to be at Disclosure Experience. Come and tease you for about an hour. So, well, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you being a part of this. You're a real friend because you didn't think about it. You're like, oh, I don't know. Let's see. You're like, yeah, let's do it. And that's what a real friend does. And I appreciate you for that. So get a little emotional and clamped.
Right on. Hey, I'll just, in closing, just let everybody know I'm going to be the first guest on Coast to Coast Saturday night.
Sweet. So everybody check it out. Who's is it still the same host, or do they bring somebody else in? I know they're
bringing someone else in. Usually George takes the weekends off, but this particular one will be a new host. He sought me out, and they just asked me yesterday if I'd like to do it. His name is Rich Barra.
Rich.
And it'll be this Saturday.
Rick Barra or Rich?
Rich Barra. And he wants to go deep into Antarctica, and we'll talk about the new second edition of Beyond Esoteric, Escaping Prison Planet.
Yeah.
So that's what's on the agenda.
And one last thing I want to mention, you said a keyword, esoteric. If there was a curriculum, because I don't know what's happening with the education system, but do you think it would be good if there was a mandatory class for esoteric knowledge, teaching people to really see the stuff that's all around them in plain sight? And I mean, I really think, and you could be like the professor that designs the syllabus for all the universities and help open people's eyes, and they get school credit for it.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. There definitely should be an esoteric university.
You took it another step. I was just talking about
another
class, of course. You're like, okay, let's have
or a whole curriculum. Yeah,
there's so much stuff that you could do that. You could have professors in all these amazing topics of discussion, and no one's going to did you just invent a new university? Holy crap! Oh my gosh! Someone's going to run with it, but you better name some of the halls after me and Brad. Period. That's there you go.
Halls of Amenti. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the Egyptology department. Mm-hmm. The Hall of Amenti. We'll give them all.
And you know how they have sculptures and stuff?
Names.
Yeah, you know how they have sculptures around the universities? You know, when you have different departments, like over here, you have the Egyptology and stuff, have a little pyramid, have stuff that's esoteric. And oh my gosh, this could be really fun. This could be a good esoteric EU, Esoteric University.
Right on.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. Love you, brother. I appreciate you. And we'll be talking soon. Everybody that came and hung out.
We'll see everybody in Arizona in May. It's going to be a great weekend. Hope to see you guys out there.
And I think I'll be a little self-promotion. I'm going to play this one more time, just for people that came in late. So, folks, thanks for joining me here on the Doc Skinner podcast. I hope many of you will get your tickets now. Like I said, 20 only per weekend. Get it now. There is payment plans. I think 4 to 6 payments or something like that. And we hope to see you there. And remember, with everything going on in the world, as long as we lift each other up, we will all rise together. My name is Doc Skinner. Thank you to my guest, Brad Olsen. And here we go. Here's the video. Good night, good afternoon, everybody. This is so weird. I feel like it's 8 o'clock. All right. Good night.
Have you ever attended a large conference or event with hundreds of attendees? One that features notable speakers that you hope to ask a single question or at least get an autograph or selfie? Well, the time has come for the opportunity of a lifetime. 1028 Productions and Entertainment is pleased to announce our exclusive inclusive events occurring each weekend in May and June 2025. These events will be held at a private 40-acre ranch in the White Mountains of Arizona. You and 19 other VIP guests will have a once-in-a-lifetime weekend to spend quality time with prominent speakers. The weekend includes discussions, activities, workshops, UFO watching, campfires, meals, barbecues, and nightly entertainment. Scheduled to attend are Tony Rodriguez, James C. Goodall, Michael Schratt,
You're going to DE 25.
Ben Chasteen, Brad Olsen, David Nino Rodriguez, Ryan Patrick Burns.
Holy shit.
Oh yes, but wait, there's more. Travis Walton, Quincy Roser, Rex Bear, Brooks Agnew, Mike Barra, J.J. Ainsworth, Marina Seren.
So many to choose from.
Can I continue? Laura Eisenhower, Lily Nova, Daryl James, Aaron Kuhn, and Tyler Kiwala, Jeff Harmon, Camille James Harmon, John D'Souza, Tom Reed, Christopher LaPrath, and Michael Mazzola. Your registration fee covers meals, lodging, and open bar, and musical entertainment on Saturday and Sunday nights. Lodging will be provided at our local hotel, the Green Tree Inn, for said weekend. April 20th is the final deadline. For more detailed information and to register for one of these events, go to 1028productions.com/DEE25. Reserve your spot today, as there is limited availability.